get things going on the other platforms. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Johnny Juicer. We got to do it again. We got to do it again for sure. All right. So today, tonight, um, I've never done one of these videos. As long as I've been doing this, I went back into my videos um, and I even looked at like what some other people have done as far as like making a case to go raw. In the health world, you see so much about different diets. The diets that come and go, whether it's vegan, vegetarian. You have diets. Obviously non-vegan, vegetarian that are supposedly healthy and have benefits. So tonight I'm gonna go through my top five. My top five. But before I do that, I missed y'all last week. I gotta really tell on myself. I actually lost my voice. So yeah, last week I was really excited to do the stream as scheduled, but I lost my voice. Earlier that week, I basically look. I had too much nuts. I ate more nuts than my body could handle. Since the winter solstice fast, I've really decreased my nut consumption dramatically. And on that, I think it was last Monday or Tuesday, I had a meal. It was a little more nuts than what I was used to. And my throat felt scratchy the next day. And then it just got to the point where by Thursday I had my voice was gone. So this is an example. Previous weeks we talked about raising your sensitivity. So so you know that's becoming healthier. And raising our sensitivity will sometimes create those situations, especially as we move away from things that can create create excess mucus. So yes, so if you were looking for me last week, I apologize. And actually, it wasn't soap nuts. It was from almond butter mainly. So generally, almonds are, even if it's raw almond butter, it's not live or soaked almond butter. Obviously, it was spoiled in the jar. So no. So the thing is, but yeah, it was something. Again, it just allowed me to just reflect on that. It's all about balance. I mean, nuts is a part of our diet, but certainly we can certainly overdo it and get checked. So yes, so that was last week. Next week, next week, next week is that time. It's that time to go back in. We started these live streams with the winter solstice and the winter solstice fast, and next week is spring equinox. So the spring equinox is next week from the 21st to the 24th. We've talked about the 4-day period, or pivot, as I like to call it. So this is a pivot. This is a pivot into a new season. And that was the other reason too, is that in these months where we have these pivots, December, March, June, September, our bodies are more susceptible. So it's no coincidence that I would develop a scratchy throat and lose my voice in the month of March. So these things can happen in these months. Our bodies are more sensitive in December, March, June, and September. Okay. So next week, Beginning Sunday, I'm inviting all of you, I'm challenging all of you to join me on a 7-day fast. 7-day juice, water, coconut water. If you want to do smoothies, because the thing is that with the spring season, I mean, we talked about, if we have to look at this holistically. The winter solstice represents the beginning of the year. That's like I call that the equivalent of 12 midnight. And then when we go into right now, we are with the spring equinox. That's the equivalent. If we mapped it over a 24-hour clock, that's the equivalent of 6 a.m. So between 6 a.m. and 12 noon, this is a time where we can use this next week to really rest the system, rejuvenate the system. And these next 3 months, this is the time to grind. Our energy is at its highest between March and June. This is the time all of your goals for the year, the things that you want to accomplish, the things that you're moving towards, you really want to externally uh, present yourself. I want to force yourself, but it's not force. It's really to really exert yourself, exert that energy outwardly. This is the time. We are in that time right now between March and the end of June. In the summer months, we peak, and that energy continues through the summer. And then obviously with fall, it's time to fall back. With the autumn equinox, it's time to fall back. So yes, I'm inviting y'all all to join me. My last day of eating is going to be on the 9th, this Saturday on the 19th. And then from Sunday to Sunday, from March 20th to the 27th, I got to look at the calendar specifically. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna definitely come on midweek, probably I guess around the 24th, 25th to check in. But yes, definitely challenging, inviting y'all at least 3 days. You may not want to do the 7-day, but at least 3 days. Uh, Challenging y'all. This is the time. This is the time to really. I mean, what we're doing is we're creating efficiency. We're creating, we're moving in rhythm with the season. We're moving in rhythm with our body. We're moving in rhythm with our own digestion, our really our health. Okay, so just like we're up during the sunlight hours and we sleep during the moonlight hours. Okay, so this is a good time to really create that rest and then really create that momentum so that we can power through into the summer season. All right, so let's get into the topic of tonight, and that's my top reasons for going raw. So first, before I get into the the first reason, I just want to just kind of recap my story, because the thing is like, these are my top reasons. But then, these reasons are not necessarily personal. I guess they can be personal, but in order for this to work long term, especially, and this is also the time. Like if you've been on the fence, you back and forth. This is the time. This is the time. You say like, look, I'm really trying to go raw. This is the time. If we were in September, I say, you know what, just that's more the time to meditate on it. Yeah, people can I mean, you can change a habit at any time. But energetically, to change your habits now, you're going to have a higher chance of success. Okay? So for me, this started. I've been raw since the year 2000. Um, it is something that I thought about 10 years prior, 1990. That's when I graduated from high school. Graduated from high school in 1990. Went off to college, and actually going to college, was already on the vegetarian vegan path, and was even experimenting with fruitarianism because I was reading different books, and I was, obviously at that time, we talking the beginning of the 90s. We weren't using, there was computers, but we wasn't using them. There was no email, there was no internet, at least in terms of the way it is today. And so information was basically, old school books. And so, started, reading a lot of different books on vegetarianism, and, was really, just excited about changing my diet and my lifestyle. And wasn't a lot on raw. I remember one of the first books I had was Raw Propaganda. It didn't really inspire me to say, you know what, I gotta do this. But the seed was planted, and 10 years of really kind of just experimenting and thinking about it. Finally, by the year 2000, I was like, this is what it is, and this is what I'm going to do. And it was really some life events that really pushed me, because I didn't really like how my life was going. I was finished with college for the most part. I was in grad school at this time, and yeah, it was just time, and I knew that this was my calling. This was something that was for me. Uh, and one thing I say is that I'm married to this. It's definitely till death do me apart. I know for most people are not going to get married to this. This is not only my lifestyle, but this is how I eat, how I make my living, as far as, promoting the lifestyle and sharing the lifestyle, becoming a chef. I wasn't I went to school for mechanical engineering. Didn't have really no intent, even though I worked in restaurants. That's what I always say. It's like I've worked in restaurants since I was 14 years old. And even though I wasn't like trying to go to I would have never thought to myself, oh, I need to go become a chef. I became a chef because I wanted to make raw food. So even though I've had a restaurant, I've like I will never deviate. Like, even if, like, I had the restaurant and say, well, do you want to introduce cooked foods to balance out the raw or to complement the raw? I would never do that, because one of my things is, like, if I don't eat it, then I can't sell it. So so yeah. So I'm saying all that to say that, most people don't mind dating with raw food. They may not want to get married to it, but they'll go out on a date. They'll even date it for a while, like 3 months or a couple of weeks. Oh, I'm doing a 3-week fast. I'm doing a 3-week raw food cleanse. And that's great. That is fine. However, I'm gonna, after tonight, hopefully you would consider making this more of a permanent lifestyle. So I'm going to give my reasons, and let's get into it. First reason number one, vitality. Vitality. If there's one thing that we all are looking for, it is more energy, more vital energy. Okay. And, obviously, we look at what is probably the most popular drug on the street is coffee. People don't drink. Probably, if you had to take a poll and say, okay, what is the percentage of people that drink coffee purely for the taste of coffee, I would definitely put my money on that is way less than 50%. Probably, if I had to take a wild guess, I would say maybe 10%. So if I'm in a ballpark, I mean, you're talking 90% of the people that are drinking coffee just to get stimulated. I mean, we shouldn't need a beverage to really overstimulate us, to give us vitality, to make us think better, to make us operate on a high level throughout the day. Certainly, we all need sleep, and sleep is 6 to 8 hours of sleep should be enough so that we can operate on a high maximum level of a high vital level of energy, mentally, physically, spiritually. We are just on a high level just from 6 hours of sleep. But yeah, most people, again, because the thing is like, if you're eating, I mean, you're eating, and this is why people are going for the caffeine. They're going for the caffeine because their system is exhausted. Why is the system is exhausted? Because you're eating cooked food, you're eating food that doesn't have any life. So you're eating, let's say you're eating a traditional breakfast, you got a piece of toast or oatmeal, something, and then you say, oh, I got some fruit with it as well. Then you turn around and eat lunch, but then breakfast is still on the stomach. And I know a lot of people are doing the intermittent fasting. However, again, if you're eating food that doesn't have any life, life begets life. We have to eat living foods, then we won't have to go for the stimulants, because the thing is that that's basically going to become, and I mean, let's be clear, coffee is probably the number one drug on the street, and it's not going anywhere. It's a high demand, and it's going to continue to be a high demand because people are going to continue to eat what they want to eat. They're not going to change their habits, even if they fall ill, they have surgery. Most people are just not going to change these habits. These habits will die hard. They will die with them, unfortunately. So that's reason number one. I and the thing is, like, even becoming raw, there's levels. Okay, so becoming raw is one thing. And I remember when I first started on my raw food diet, I was eating a lot more food than I'm eating right now. I mean, I would pretty much have a huge fruit breakfast. I would eat like if it was summertime, I would get a watermelon, cut it in half, and I would eat at least half of that watermelon. And then I would have a big salad for lunch and a big salad for dinner. And I probably would have a smoothie in between. So it was a lot of food. And when I say big salad, I mean like, big salad bowl, heavy greens, not no like baby lettuce. I'm talking kale, collards, mustard greens, all of the dense green leafy vegetables. And I mean, that's what it takes. Because when you look at my video when I'm talking about becoming and staying raw, going hard on the greens initially is important. It's very important. We gotta really remove the starch addiction. And you remove the starch addiction by rewiring the cells by eating heavy green leafy vegetables. Because that you want that to be your starch. You want that to be your filler. You want that to be your rice, your bread, your pasta, those things that vegans are addicted to. Your beans, rice, pasta, those things are addictive. Okay, so vitality is number one. Number two, my second reason for becoming raw is as we become more vital, we become more healthy, we become more fertile. So fertility. Now, some of you may not want to have a child, but this is part of the deal. You want to become more healthy, you will become more fertile. Okay. Now, I think, especially among women, because, us men, we obviously have a lot more leeway, in terms of the possibility of having children, especially as we get older. I mean, thinking, in terms of age, they say geriatric pregnancy starts at for women at age 35. I mean, a lot, a lot of women are starting to, release eggs as early as 9 years old. Of course, an 8 9 year old child is in no physical state to emotionally and physically carry a child, but it's almost like your biological clock has already begun. And I talk about that as well, because it's almost like the life cycle is being sped up. Our young girls getting their cycle as early as 8 9 years old, that's a problem. So the fertility cycle is being rushed because the human spirit wants to live. And the thing is like fertility, I mean, I think for me as a man, being able to reproduce. Now I've had 5 children, um and I mean, who knows the possibilities in the future? I could probably have 5 more. Who knows? Uh, so the possibility is there. But the thing is that as far as you know, my legacy, I feel content as a man. Like if I need to pass on, I'm good. You know, you know, 2 of my children is boys. Like I look at them, I'm like, I'm good. I mean, yes, I want to continue to live, but if, like, for example, like I have to pass on in order for them to live, I'm gonna do it in a heartbeat. It ain't even a question. So the thing is, like fertility, again, life begets life. Number one, we become more vital, and two, we become more fertile. And especially for women who want to sort of lengthen their biological window for having children, this should probably be your top reason, to give you more flexibility in terms of saying, like, because obviously women, we know that, in our modern society, their best years is in their 20s. However, a lot of our women are, I mean, we live in a modern society, a first world country. A lot of women are not necessarily wanting or desiring to start a family, to make that sacrifice. Unfortunately, however, it is what it is. And the thing is like, eating this type of diet will sort of say, well, hey, look, I want to work and develop myself professionally and make money, and then but still have the option to have children. But of course, doing this diet will potentially give you that option. Okay, so that's reason number 2. Vitality, number 1. Fertility, number 2. Well, I mean, if you're fertile, number 3, this goes right in line with fertility, is sexuality. Now, I don't know how many of y'all have seen my video where I'm interviewing, and again, this is going to be more appropriate for the sisters, for the women, because I don't know how many of y'all seen my video. I interviewed a young woman. She healed her womb and became multi-orgasmic after adopting a raw food diet. And it only took her 30 days. She was a long-term vegan, maybe I think she was vegan for at least 5 years, and started on the raw food journey. Her partner at the time was also raw, and they did have a child. But she became. Y'all need to go, especially y'all women. Y'all need to go and watch that video if you haven't seen it. Woman heals. It's on my YouTube channel. Woman heals her womb. Now, what does this have to do with sexuality? Well, it has everything to do with sexuality, because especially for the women. Now, for us men, in terms of, the intimacy and achieving, that orgasm and that state of bliss. I mean, let's be clear, for women, it's just not the same thing in terms of ease. I mean, they say men, we can orgasm so fast. And the way she explains it is that she was able to control her orgasm. And I know for a fact, most women are not able to do that. Internal orgasm, like after becoming raw. And let's look at that. And shout out to Queen Afua, because it wasn't until I heard her story and interviewed her for my channel. I mean, years of being raw, not understanding, and of course, me not being a woman myself, not obviously to know that. But for women to because the thing is, like, I mean, you got to think, those linings and those walls are so sensitive, and just some weeks ago, what did I talk about? Raising your sensitivity. Sexuality is a sensitivity. If we want to enjoy sex, we want to enjoy our partners, our husbands, our wives, more on a deeper spiritual, physical, sensual level, becoming raw. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. I want to say, I don't want to get flagged. But yes, sexuality, let's keep it clean. Yes, because the thing is that you think about the diet, and you think about women not being able to achieve. Most women, there's some outliers, of course. There's some women who are blessed and who are able to maybe achieve that internal orgasm from actual intercourse. I'm not talking about like the outer orgasm that a lot of women experience, either from oral or from self-pleasuring. I'm talking about like from the the physical act of sex in and of itself. She was explaining that actually, I mean, she took a whole 180, where not only she basically did not enjoy sex. Sex was painful for her. She went from that to basically being able to have orgasms at will. So sexuality, this is for you women especially. Most of us men, we would say, yeah, we're definitely good. But even for us men, I mean, let's talk about that, because for us men, and the problems that what happens with men, especially as we get older. I mean, you got to think about how small, because it's all plumbing. So our pipes, if we're eating dead food, congested food, the thing is that those pipes are going to get clogged. If those those pipes get clogged, that's going to affect your major pipe. The major, that pipe that we call the lingam, the phallus, the penis, that pipe ain't gonna work. And the thing is that it's really, becoming raw, and especially when you're doing more fasting. Oh, the pipes are clear. The pipes are clear, and you truly will have a pipe. Like, it will be as hard as a pipe. See, a lot of men, see, most men, and again, I'm glad I even thought. I wasn't even really prepared to address this, but the thing is that most men, we peak sexually in our late teens. I'd probably say 15, 16, 17, but it don't have to be that way. Because again, a lot of those arteries and veins and vesicles are very small and very tiny. It don't take a whole lot. I mean, you talk about years and years of eating rice, potatoes, and all of these starches that's gonna make your blood thick, and that's gonna clog up your plumbing, and your pipe ain't gonna work. Or at least it's not gonna work. I mean, it's gonna slowly, gradually over time. And then of course we see we see a lot of our men going for either the modern day drugs, was it Viagra and Cialis or whatever it's called, or they're going natural, ginseng, tangata, horny goat weed. You don't need none of that stuff when you're doing right with the food. Okay, so and like I said, even going more towards the juice, if anything that is going to make your pipe work like with maximum efficiency is fresh juice. Fresh juice. All right. So that's reason number 3. Reason number 4. All right. Reason number 4, longevity. And one of the things with longevity, I mean, obviously it's about quality first. We want to live a high quality, high vibrational life, right? And if we're living a high vibrational, high vital, I mean, we talked about vitality, we talked about fertility, extending the life, right? And even if you don't want to have children, I mean, the option is there. It's great to have options. And then, of course, to become more sexual. We're sexual beings. We're sexual social creatures. We should be able to enjoy that on the highest level. And becoming raw allows us to do that. And and like I said, I gave a shout out earlier to Queen of Four. I wanted to really follow up with that because Queen of Four has with interviewing the sister I did for my channel, Queen of Four has worked with probably thousands of women to help them achieve this level. And they talk about it. They talk about it with her Sacred Woman training, how women could really experience true sexual bliss when they become raw. They clean up again all of that dead starch is sitting on their womb. Desensitize their womb and their vaginal channel. So it's blocking your whole chakra aura orgasmic flow. Longevity. Of course, probably the biggest reason when we talk about raw food, one of the things about raw food that separates it from everything else, whether it's vegan or not, is enzymes. And of course, what are enzymes is the life in the food. When we eat food, our stomach is it's like 2 compartments within one. Okay, so when we eat food for that first hour, the stomach allows it to sit there and allow whatever enzymes that it has. So if you're eating raw food, it basically creates the situation where the enzymes initially from the food that you ate to start to work. Because the thing is that if you're eating cooked food, then there's no enzymes. So what does the body have to do? The body has to draw upon its own metabolic enzymes. And we only have a certain amount of those. Like we're all using them right now. I'm using them to give this presentation. I mean, everything we do that requires anything requires enzymes. And digestive enzyme is just one type of enzyme. But if we're eating enzymeless food, then that's going to draw upon our own life force, which is enzymes. So we should be eating food that has a life force. And if we're doing that, then that's not going to allow us to draw upon this life force. This is why fasting, this brings it back to fasting, because there's nothing outside of us that is going to heal us, no matter what it is. Everything happens within the body. Disease happens within the body, and so does healing. And so if we want to create a situation for our highest longevity, I did a video talking about I didn't review this before this presentation, but basically talking about like looking at like how, what should be our life cycle. And I made a case for, if I remember correctly, at least we should all be the average lifespan should be between 120 and 140 years. And I made my case for that. Basically, I looked at like how most animals basically I created a multiplier. Again, I was a mathematician, engineering brain. So, basically looking at the age of maturity and then how many times the maturity. So, for example, a dog, a lot of dogs live, I don't know. I think dogs live 15 years. But again, how many years does it take that dog to mature? So if it's 1 year, and again, I may be wrong because I'm not a dog aficionado, but I think I'm in the ballpark. It may take a dog 1 year to mature, but then he or she'll live 15 times the age of maturity. And we know that human beings mature around 20 years old. How many times are we living past our age of maturity? What is that multiplier? We could say we know it's under 80 for average. So we're not even living 4 times our age of maturity. And, having lived long enough myself to see, unfortunately, loved ones, to be close to people who I know personally, very close to me, my own mother, pass away at a very early age. Most of us are living unfulfilled lives because we're not living, we're not even living to 100. So the thing is like if we're passing at 60, 70, 80 years old, a lot of our elders who are this age are dying angry, frustrated, unfulfilled. One of my motivations is to really sort of choose. That's one of my wishes. It's one of my goals. Is to say, you know what? Like tonight, all of you tonight watching this, you're going to more than likely choose when you go to sleep. You're going to turn off the light and lay down and say, okay, I'm ready for bed. I'm ready to go to sleep. Most of you, if not all of you. Why shouldn't we have the power to do that for our final sleep? Just like, I love to sleep more than anyone. We should look forward to that final rest. Most of us don't, especially if we're not living beyond 80 years old. So while we can say quality of life and all of this, there's something to be said about longevity. And why can't we have the best of both worlds? Okay, nobody wants to live to 100 years old and can't walk or can't get it up. you know, again, name a better diet, name a better way to achieve that goal, or to achieve that level of vitality, that we can live to triple digits and still do all the things that we're doing now. Yoga, meditation, fasting. So longevity. One of the other things I'll mention as far as longevity is well, there's going to be two more things. But the one thing that just hit my head is one of the things I looked at when I was looking at my longevity study. I was looking at animals, different animals that live way longer than us. One of them being the turtle. Turtle is one of my favorite. The tortoise, the turtle, one of my favorite animals. I mean, one thing about them, they move slow. They move slow. So I say that to say more symbolically. Okay, yeah, we can move slow, we can breathe slow, and that's going to make a difference. But the thing is like, as far as creating longevity, we want to think about not trying to live so fast. You know, one of the things, you know, growing up in a small town, I grew up in a very small town in upstate New York, and I'm so thankful for my childhood and growing up. I mean, it was a lot of nature. We were outside all the time, even in the wintertime. It was like 2-3 feet of snow. I had the best childhood. I mean, it would have been better, obviously, if I was in the tropics and stuff like that. But it was fantastic to grow up in a small town. You know, living in a city now, I feel if my children only knew. But to grow up in a small town, and you know, like one thing my mom used to say, like, you know, because we always would want to get to New York City. We want to get to New York City, right? So fast paced. So it was just like, you know, and one of the things my mom used to always say is like, you know, there's people living too fast, and it didn't make any sense to me as a child. Like, what you mean living fast? I mean, we all, and I get it now, because the thing is that, you know, the way we should want to experience life. You know, the things that especially the things that we enjoy. We all love to eat. We love to have sex, or, you know, to do these things. And the thing is that we want to delay pleasures like that. We want to, just like we're doing our Equinox fast next week. So we're going to delay, at least I'm going to delay. I'm challenging all of y'all to join me to delay eating for one whole week. See, that's an action of living slow. Okay? Because the thing is that, I mean, you think about it like, okay, let's say my body is only designed to digest 50 or 100,000 meals. Let's say after that 100,000th meal, that's it. That's it. So if you know that your body can only digest 10,000 meals, wouldn't you space them out? Say, look, if I eat one meal per week, or one meal every other day, or at least one meal a day, that's why the intermittent fast is working. People are eating one meal a day, and it's like, man, I feel great. I'm losing weight. You're not exhausting your life force energy. Okay, the turtle wins the race. And the last thing I'll say, you know, as far as longevity, I got hip to a channel recently on YouTube. It's called Plant Chompers, and Chompers, Chompers. It's a vegan channel, or pro vegan channel. And one of the videos that really fascinated me was that they did sort of it wasn't a study. They basically looked at a lot of the health gurus. It's like when do health gurus die? And there was a pattern. And this is really personal for me, because obviously, I mean, some of these health gurus, I've read their books, I've followed their program, I've learned from them. Like, for example, Dick Gregory, he was profiled in it. And there was another gentleman. Now, if you've been following me for a while, one of the protocols that I adopted maybe 10 years ago was I started adding fermented cod liver oil in the wintertime. Why was I doing this? Well, living here in the northern city, every winter I was experiencing bone loss. For 2 years in a row, I would have to go to the dentist, get a tooth removed. I was experiencing bone loss. And one of the things is, after my research, I was already familiar with Weston A. Price. Here's his book, Weston A. Price, Nutritional and Physical Degeneration. And basically, the long or the short of it was that Weston A. Price was a dentist, maybe over 100 years ago. And what he did was, he kind of, he performed root canals for a living. And in our society today, we attribute root canals and cavities to basically lack of hygiene. And for the higher thinking individual, we know that hygiene can be a factor, but it's really a minor or a small one at that. And Weston A. Price was able to think outside of the box and say, you know what, this is probably something dietary related. And he went around the world and looked at different cultures and tribes and found that the people who were eating more their traditional diet, they were they had perfect teeth. And not only did they have perfect teeth, their teeth were grown, their jaws were wider, they didn't have tooth crowding. And one of the main protocols was the fermented cod liver oil. So I started adding fermented cod liver oil, and I gotta say that I got benefit from it. I definitely haven't seen a dentist since I started doing that. I've stopped doing it, so I'm not doing the fermented cod liver oil anymore. But I'm bringing up all of these things to because there was another book, Cure Tooth Decay by Ramiel Nagel. Cure Tooth Decay. Now, what's interesting? Now, this guy, I got his book. Now he goes even further. I mean, basically, it's all under the Weston A. Price umbrella and the philosophy. And basically, they are very much down with the raw food. However, they're very much not vegan. And one of the things, in addition to fermented cod liver oil, they're very much not just about eating meat, like animal protein, but they're into the organs. Now, when I got this book, and he was interviewed on, different health shows, Cure Tooth Decay, there was a video, and he has a YouTube channel, this guy here, Ramiel Nagel. He's literally, for breakfast, there was a video of him eating heirloom tomatoes with raw liver. I mean, you literally see the blood from the liver, the raw blood from the liver, like combining juices with the heirloom tomatoes. I was like, wow, this is something that I'm not doing that. I'm not eating that. Guess what? This guy is no longer with us. You would never guess. Now, this was you're talking about eating the top protocol diet under this program. And he probably had perfect teeth. But y'all would never guess what age. Now, I know I can't interact with y'all. I mean, some of y'all can make comments, y'all can make some guesses, but I'm gonna just let the cat out the bag. This guy lived to 38 years old. 38 years old. You would probably think, oh, he probably died at 50, 60. You know, this guy died of brain cancer at 38 years old. And in that video, Plant Chompers, that's the channel. But he had a part 1, he had a part 2. So all of the high protein, the keto, those of y'all on that keto, drinking coconut oil and cod liver oil, you may have perfect teeth, but you're not going to be around to enjoy them. So yeah, and there was and basically that was the trend, because you know, while keto is all the rave, you know, you're hearing very smart people, doctors, nutritionists, scientists, even, you know, talking about keto. And keto is just remixed of, there was before it was paleo, before paleo it was Atkins, and before Atkins, it's not coming to me. I believe it was a doctor by the name of Dr. Pennington, but it's in that video. Dr. Atkins was inspired by Dr. Pennington, and again, it was a high fat, high meat diet, you know, and they've refined it where keto is like, oh, no starch, no carbs. And there are people who are going to follow this. And yes, while they may have perfect teeth, the odds are they're not going to be able to enjoy them for very long. So I wanted to really hip y'all to that. Yes. It's if like the fermented cod liver oil was part of my regimen, part of my program. I mean, you know, it is very high in vitamin D. But the thing is that, and this is the thing I'm going to say about meat in general, because the thing is that, you know, like vegans and vegetarians can, you know, they can damn meat and curse meat and do all these things. But the thing is that meat, pound for pound, is more nutritious than any fruit or vegetable. Meat and milk, raw milk, that is. Because, you know, some people, again, and there's a part of the raw community that's into this. They eat their meat and they do raw goat milk, raw cow milk. However, we are not designed. It is not it for that higher level of nutrition, that higher density of nutrition is a price. And the fact that this man right here who wrote this book can die and not even reach 40 years old. I'm going to be 50 this year. That was another thing too. Like when I was even reading this book, you know, because one of the things they love to talk about, you know, because they say, oh, you know, the tribe in Africa, the Maasai people, how they're so robust and so strong, and you know, you can look at a video and they drinking the cow blood, they basically live off of the cow, but they're not living very long. You know, I did a quick Google search that said, what is the longevity? What is the life expectancy of the Maasai people? I don't know how accurate it is, but the age 44 came up. So while, yes, you may have a high level of nutrition, it's too much, it's too extreme. We're supposed to eat plants. We're supposed to eat fresh food, fresh plants, fresh fruit, really. We are fruitarian first. Fruitarians. Because a lot of y'all, y'all love to curse sugar. And really, greens, that's a form of sugar. Fat is a form of sugar. Salt is a form of sugar. But our fruits are our food, period. Everything else is like sort of a complement to the fruit. But really, 70-80% of our diet should be fruit. So longevity. Last but not least, so let's just go through the 4. Just a recap before I go through the 5th one. One is vitality, fertility, sexuality, longevity. Last but not least, spirituality. I mean, we're spiritual beings because the thing is like I think all of you will agree that we are spiritual beings living in earthly existence, right? And you can say, okay, I'm gonna die. We're all gonna go when we're gonna go, right? However, knowing that we come from spirit and we're gonna go to spirit, maybe y'all agree or disagree with me on that one. However, we are spiritual beings, and the thing is that this dense body is the house of our spirit. And I don't know about y'all, but I want a clean house. Like my house, that my office, my house, my kitchen, that's got to be clean. I mean, it just creates a vibe, or aura, right? What about this house? This house. So fasting, fruits is what keeps it clean. Mainly fasting. Because every time we eat, but if we're eating mostly fruit, that's going to keep the maintenance strong. So that when we go into fasting, we really enjoy the fasting. So if we're eating a lot of garbage, we're eating a lot of dense food, the dense starches, fasting can be painful. A good painful because it's a healing. However, painful. But then if we're eating mostly fruits and salads, simple salads, right? And then I know for me, like after that, because first 6 months it was fruits and salads. And it wasn't at the 6-month mark where I was like, oh, okay, there's such thing as a raw food pizza. There's such thing as, raw. I can make raw. And then later on, I learned how to sprout or split or bloom wild rice and things like that. And I mean, there's some purists that say, not even, that don't even do wild rice or nuts or however, again, as long as we keep it fruits and salads, then we can go into fasting pretty much right in rhythm and really enjoy that whole process. And then we become what? We become more spiritual. Because why? We're becoming more sensitive. See, as we're raising our sensitivity, we're raising our intuition, we're raising our whole connection with this universe. Food is our medicine, and medicine is our food. One of the things I'm going to go in maybe next week. Actually, no, it won't be next week, but maybe the week after. Because I want to get into these, like I want to do a whole thing on herbs. Because a lot of us, there is a place for herbs, but are they really doing what they think are they doing the healing? Are they doing what they think you think or we think that they're doing? Because the thing is that one thing that will never change. Really, the answer is it's only the body. There's one healer, and it's our own body. So, so that's the 5. That's the 5. Vitality, fertility, sexuality, longevity, spirituality. Next week, we're going in spring equinox. So if I have time Sunday, if not Sunday, definitely Monday, I want to check back in. 7 days. Let's this is the time. You know, if you're just joining in, you can go back to the beginning where I talked about the springtime. This is our time for maximum exertion of our goals. This is the time where the wind, the spiritual wind, is at our back, and we have the most vital energy to exert, to really challenge ourselves. However, getting this tune up right before the season begins and the sun is totally towards into the spring season, this will give us even that extra boost. Okay, so I'll take some questions. I hope y'all enjoyed that. If anything, support the channel. Y'all see the Cash App on the YouTube if you want to send a small donation. If you want to ask a question, I will look back at some of these comments here, and I will answer any questions. Well, I'll take this one. We talked about a fasting. How? Okay, so, well, it's up to you. At the very least, let's start with the very least and let's go to the highest level. Okay. So at the very least, at the very, very, very least, is all raw food, right? I mean, I'm really trying to encourage y'all. Actually, no, that's not the very least. We by next week, after the equinox, we want to go raw, 100% raw, for at least the entire spring and summer months. Okay, so at the very least, no solid food. What does that mean? Well, you can do water, obviously, fresh juice, smoothies. You want to do smoothies? That's okay. You want to you want to blend a banana, some other fruit in there. It's okay. I would say that would be at the very minimum. I was gonna say soups, but sometimes with the soups that can get a little tricky. You can have a little chewing in there. We don't want no chewing. Okay, so at the very least, water, juice, and smoothies. Now, if you want to take it to a higher level, then it's just water and juice. Or what you could do is stagger into it and stagger out of it. So the first day you could do water, juice, smoothies, right? Just to kind of get you over that hump. Second day you do water, juice, smoothie. But then by the third day, see, you hit that faster's high. And your body starts to flip where it's going to get its resources from. And then you lose your appetite. So then you can say, you know what, I don't need the smoothies today. So then it's like just water and juice. And then you could do water and juice for those 3 days. So now you're on day 5, day 6. And then you say, well, I'm going to get ready for food. So maybe day 6, day 7, I do water, juice, and smoothies. And then the smoothie, obviously you have some fiber in there. So then, when you come back and, when you break your fast with a simple salad or a big fruit meal, well, you have the big fruit meal first. And, for like your a lunch. on the day that you break, and then for dinner you have your simple salad. Okay, so that's a good program, and that's actually how I used to do it when I had the Mojo Juice Club. Some of my early, that was like when I first started on doing it, was my first business, the Mojo Juice Club. And that's how we used to do it. It used to be a group of us. We used to do it together. It was what I called, it was like an urban retreat. So I would make all the juices every day. People would come and pick up the juice every day. Like we'd have a raw food meal, and we said it'd be about 20 of us. And I'd give a lecture and give them some inspiration. Everything now is virtual, so it's great because now I'm talking to people all over the world that may see this, and definitely all over the country. And that's one of the benefits of this whole internet. So that's one way you could do it. Obviously, if you want to really even take it at the highest level, no juice, just really coconut water. I'm not the biggest fan of water fasting, and I'm not going to go into that. Maybe I'll do a whole video on water fasting versus coconut water. But my biggest, what I love at the highest level is coconut water and your urine. So urine, coconut water is going to correct everything. So if you can do that, like and you can even ease into that. Like you could do water or urine water juice smoothies, and then urine water juice, and then just urine and water, or urine and coconut water, and do that for 3 days. You don't need no colonic. You won't need no herbs. Again, and this is all your own body. That's the highest level. That's the top. But actually, really, the top is dry fasting. But dry fasting can be tricky, and is very aggressive. Obviously, way more aggressive than just plain water fasting. I don't, again, I feel like with doing, especially coconut water, fresh juices. You're going to benefit. Your body is going to get a nice rest. Your digestion is going to get a nice rest. We're going to become more sensitive. We're going to create longevity. We're going to preserve enzymes. We're going to create higher sexuality, higher fertility. We're really setting the stage for the rest of the spring to really be like raw is easy. It's easy. And actually, I want to finish with that because really, I want to talk about some of the challenges, with this diet. And what I find that when really people make the effort to really commit to this diet. And again, like I said, I'm married to it. It's death do me apart. Most people, again, I understand. Most people is only gonna maybe date it. Maybe they date it seriously, long term, or they go out on one date, or they go out on multiple dates, or they date it for a few weeks, a few months. Look, to each his own. It's all good. No shame, no game. It's all good. No judgment. However, the social aspect is probably by far the biggest challenge. But the thing is like now we're still under somewhat COVID culture, where it's almost like, I'm not gonna say it's against the law. It's not against the law necessarily to go out and break bread, and but obviously that's been hampered. And so I feel like really that's created the stage, because now there's less opportunity. Even if we are going out to restaurants and things, nobody is going out on the same level that we once were as a community. I'm sure all of us will agree that most of us have not, because that's a big part of the temptation. Is the socialization of food. Whether it's for like just a hooking up, going out on a date, whether it be like a serious event, like let's say a graduation or maybe a wedding, or some kind of gala or ball or any some celebratory event. It's always going to be food, right? And we know all of that is either gone virtual or it just doesn't happen. So really, that creates more opportunity for you to do this diet and not be tempted. The other thing, and I mentioned earlier is again the detoxification. I talked about detoxification. And this is why we need these tune-ups. We need these, and we want to do these fasting tune-ups during these pivot months: December, March, June, and September. We do these tune-ups, and it really keeps us. It really keeps us. It really keeps us on course. And of course, there's going to be work involved. But again, since COVID culture, I hope y'all like that. But yeah, it's given us more of an excuse, more opportunity to be at home. A lot of y'all may work from home now, and I know things have been opening up and they've changed, especially since 2-3 years ago when this whole thing started. However, hopefully a lot of you have created better habits and put forth the work, because obviously there's a convenience factor, with this. And then of course, just getting, I talked about the drug, basically, look, if you find that it's hard for you to give up cooked food, again, it's not food, it's drugs. It's become a drug. We don't get addicted to bananas and apples and oranges, but rice, potatoes, and all of these other concoctions, highly addictive. All right. All right. So that's my spiel. I'll look at taking some questions now for a few minutes. There's a question here on IG. What are the benefits of ingesting or drinking the urine? There's a breatharian I follow that does the same. Yeah, I've been drinking my own urine for close to 2 years now. So I just speak to my own personal experience. Actually, there's a number of books. But this is my favorite book, The Golden Fountain. That's my favorite book on urine therapy. There's another one called Your Perfect Medicine. I don't have that book, but this is my favorite book, the Golden Fountain. Actually, this is the first book that I read before I started. And my take is that, after doing this for almost 2 years, I am become convinced. Because the first thing I always say is like, look, it's not waste. It's not waste. It's not waste. That's what we've all been drilled into our psyche, that, okay, we urinate. Even among doctors, even like holistic doctors and nutritionists and things, it's like, oh, that's part of the exhaust is the urine, right? But however, when you understand that it's not waste. Well, if it's not waste, then it's really just the opposite. Even if you're on like toxic medications or you eat a toxic diet, to me, it's the equivalent of breast milk. It's breast milk for mature human beings. Obviously, the very thing that we need to ingest when we come out of the womb is breast milk. There's no argument there from anybody. Okay, unless the mother is unable to breastfeed or something with the child or whatever, obviously there's cases. However, I mean, we know first and foremost that breast milk should be the top choice, the top, and midwives and mothers who understand breast milk know that breast milk is more powerful than just ingesting. If the baby has a little rash or even a cut, midwives and hip mothers know to take that breast milk and rub it on that rash and rub it on that thing, whatever it may be. And the breast milk works like magic. So I I I I create an equivalent in terms of our urine. It's almost like, and that's one of the early epiphanies that I had, because you want to check out my video. The book I'm referring to is The Golden Fountain, but you want to check out my video, Better Than Coconut Water. And after drinking coconut water as my only water for close to 20 years, and then really beginning a urine protocol, I'm like, it's not even close. Coconut water, top water. Nature's nature's perfect water, filtered by the coconut palm. It takes the water and makes it perfect for human consumption. But then what's even better is that we drink the coconut water, we take it and make it even better the second time around. Why is that? Well, my epiphany, my feeling was like, and again, I didn't read this in any book. Again, this is my own personal message, a personal experience, that we don't get everything we bring into us is not a part of us. It's not a part of us. So by taking in the coconut water, again, that's like a foreign object. But now the urine, and what is the urine? It's the liver that does all of the dirty work. Okay, so all the kidney's job is to take that excess fluid, blood plasma fluid, ultra filtered fluid from the blood. And the thing is like, I've come to the conclusion, my ultimate conclusion is that we are supposed to, like I feel like, because again, we're taking in, especially if we're taking in fruits, mostly fruits, and if we're drinking that urine, it's like, and it creates such a high vibration. The first time I had a full cup of my own urine, my morning urine, it was like I was on cloud 9,000 for the first half of the day. I was feeling so good. And I went back to the book, and it was like the stem cells, the hormones. Basically, the thing is, like, from drinking coconut water, again, not being a part of me, but then now drinking something that I made, that my body is familiar with, that now I could take it as like, okay, now I got it. And then when you hear all of the testimonials of the healing testimonials, and you name it, from top, things that are maybe more external on the surface, from internal, the cancer. One of my customers was asking me was asking me what they could do as far as their knee pain, and I started talking about urine, and they said, you know what, I'll try it. She came back to me about a month later. I was like, "Oh, how is it going?" She was like, "Yeah, my knees have gotten better, but I've my hernia is healing." I was like, "Wow." I mean, if y'all know anything about hernia, it's like you got to go get that stitched up. No, you don't. You start drinking your own medicine, your own perfect medicine. It will start to self-correct the body. So yes, it is our perfect. And then the thing is this, we love to look at the animals, right? The animals operate on instinct. We say, okay, well, especially, the folks in the raw food movement that because there are a lot of people that say, no, we're not supposed to drink our urine, it's waste, blah blah blah. But then we look at those, but then they'll point to those same animals that are drinking their urine every day. Monkeys and baboons and apes are like, I've seen videos where they'll hang themselves upside down, they'll urinate, and it'll go right into their mouth. Why are they doing that? It's your own perfect medicine. To borrow from the lady who wrote that book, Your Own Perfect Medicine. But no, the Golden Fountain, uh, get the book. Again, I'm not getting, you know, uh, paid to promote, but it's a great book because he really talks about the science. He gets into some of the science, and he gets into the spiritual aspect because we know historically, if we look at if there's a country in the world that is practicing this on probably the highest level, we have to look at India. So India, I mean, they so hardcore with it. They doing cow urine. I don't recommend cow milk or cow urine. However, I mean, I feel like we make good enough urine. However, it just goes to show you that, and even pre pandemic, would have urine conferences. So if that ever comes back, that would be something that I would definitely attend. But there's like some spiritual texts. Actually, I'll flip to it. Like, there's some spiritual verses that talk about urine therapy that he has in his book. So it's great. It's a great book. Um, so if you're interested to find out more information, and I think I said everything I wanted to say about that. And I think the last thing I'll say, I might have mentioned this, but I'm again, just as important it is for a young child, a young infant to drink breast milk, I feel like it is. Again, you could be healthy without drinking urine. You can obviously benefit greatly without even doing a fast without doing urine. Obviously, I mean, however, I mean the urine again, it's just a high level. Like I said, I mean, drinking coconut water for over 2 decades as my only water, and then to experience my own water. I mean, I would have never, ever, even from the very first day. So that's a strong testimonial. And I'm not saying that because it's my testimonial. But yeah, check out that video. So yeah, if there's any other questions, again, the urine, I can get carried away when I start talking about urine. So y'all, if y'all offended, then oh well. I mean, again, I'm trying to inspire. I made a pact a long time ago that one of my highest virtues in life is to inspire and to educate, and that's what I'm doing. I don't get paid. That's one of the things. I can't make money off you drinking your own perfect water, your own perfect medicine. But if everybody's healthier, then we'll all benefit. So I guess I will get paid. All right. So I'm gonna leave it there. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you're on YouTube, please like the video and comment. Share it just to help the channel out. You want to donate to the Cash App. Yeah, love y'all, and I will see y'all next week. Fasting next week, March 20th. I'm going in. March 19th is going to be my last day until I don't know, the following week. So we're going to be talking about we'll be going in, we'll be checking in. Maybe I'll do some quick check-ins. Fasting, urine fasting, juice fasting, wherever you at. One last question. I've been plant-based for a few years and I keep seeing this raw milk thing everywhere. Thoughts on that? Yeah, so again, if you're talking about, I'm assuming you're talking about animal raw milk. Again, I talked about, you want to go back and look at this video where I talked about longevity. Because the thing is that even in my own personal journey, and I wasn't doing raw animal milk, but I was doing fermented cod liver oil, which I no longer do. Well, actually, it's because of the urine. It's because of the urine. I don't have to go to a fish liver, a fermented cod liver, fish liver oil. Anyway, yes. What I was saying is that raw meat, raw milk, nutritionally, pound for pound, people are going to feel better. They're going to feel like they're getting more because they are getting more. Fruits and vegetables can't compare nutritionally to meat and milk. However, if you're going to drink a high nutritive diet like meat and milk, because you're going to get more iron, you're going to get more minerals across the board, more vitamins, minerals across the board, right? However, it's going to come at a price. This man right here who wrote this book, Cured Tooth Decay, probably had perfect teeth. I mean, he was doing the program to the letter, right? Eating not just animals, but eating the organs. Because that's part of the whole Western price. It's not enough to just eat the animals. Like, these people are not just eating bison or deer. They're eating the heart, the liver, the brain. That's where the heavy, that's the top of the top. However, there's a price. This man died at 38 years old. 38 years old. And if you look at that video Plant Chomper's YouTube channel, when do health gurus die? All of the ones who ate healthy meat, when they ate healthy animal products, I don't care if it's like you raised it yourself, you're not going to live very long. And that's what he showed in that video. All of the health gurus who promoted a healthy meat diet, they died between 30 and 50, no more than 60 years old. They didn't live past 60. But then y'all maybe I mean, think about some of the people that inspired me. Dr. Dick Gregory, I mentioned him. The Juice Man, Jay Cordich, drinking all them carrots. He outlived Dr. Sebi. And his skin was orange from drinking all them carrots. He lived into his early 90s. Jack LaLanne lived into his 90s. Dr. Norman Walker. He was one of the early pioneers. I read all his books. I believe he lived to 99. So there was definitely a pattern. We are fruitarians. We can juice. Don't let these raw fooders talk about tell you about the dangers of juicing. You know, these so-called purists that want to, you know, criticize or over criticize juicing. Yeah, it's a processed food, but do we not benefit? They can't make a case that we do not benefit. Okay, there's oxidation, there's processing and such like that, but we benefit. And the proof is there. I mean, the folks who followed this, who promoted this, have lived long, healthy lives. So, if you want to do the raw milk and the raw liver and even the fermented cod liver oil, which I'm, you know, again, I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to tell y'all what I'm doing. All right. Just like I told y'all I was doing fermented cod liver oil, I'm doing the urine now. I didn't graduate it because that's what it's about. Look, all of us don't know. None of us know everything. You know, it's a journey, and I'm sharing my journey. All right, y'all. Yeah, there was suspicion that there was foul play, but Dr. Sebi, he again. I mean, there's speculation, but there's speculation. Obviously, there could have been foul play, but my intuition, you know, I feel like he died. I mean, officially they say he died of pneumonia. I mean, he wasn't a picture. You know, again, he you know, I mean, if you looked at him, his skin, the condition of his skin, his body, I mean, he didn't look like he was really a, you know, a picture of good health. And we know that he had his vices. Okay, there's a lot of speculation that he ate all kinds of stuff. So I'm saying, um, you know, there are folks that are really, not to say that he wasn't walking his walk and talking his talk. Again, there's a lot of rumors and things of that nature. But all I'm saying, I just brought that up to say, like, look, you know, I mean, this is also the same man that said, like, look, you know, no hybrid food, no carrots, and you got a man who outlived him. Let's just say, for example, Dr. Sebi really did die of pneumonia, which I think is safe to make that assumption. I mean, you had a man that outlived him. How often do I drink my urine? Every day. Every day. So I collect my morning urine. I pretty much, my first half of the day is just urine, and then when I'm fasting, it's just right in rhythm with that. So there won't be a day where I won't go without it. Never. I can say that with 100% certainty. There will never not be a day that I won't be drinking my urine. You can believe that. Yes. So I'll leave it there. Again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I will see y'all either next week or before. To again, we're going into the fasting. Also, last thing is I'm considering a Jamaica retreat possibly as soon as this December. So if there's any interest, let me know. I'm still in a planning mode, but I'd really like to mimic what I did this previous solstice. So I do like maybe a week of raw food training and chef training, and then maybe a week or two of fasting. So we're talking like 2 to 3 weeks, going hard, being in the sun, you know, and you can really, like, you know, like we could really, again, create that situation so that we can really ultimately live our best life, but then create the perfect setup for coming into the new year. So this was what I was able to do while I was in Panama this previous year. So I'm looking at creating a sort of a similar program at the end of this year for the solstice. You know, so instead of being here, it's cold, it's wet, it's rainy. You know, to be in a tropical paradise, drinking fresh coconut water, eating the best food, raw living, vegan, plant food, and then going into fast, doing meditation, yoga. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. It really sets up the stage to really, be our best for the new year. So if y'all interested, again, I'm planning for that. If there's any interest, let me know. And oh, last thing, I'm really still working on reopening the shop as far as food. I know a lot of a lot of folks have been hitting me up as far as getting raw food. I've missed it. I'm pretty much back to fruits and salads like everybody, well, like what I talk about. Obviously having a shop, I was always always had the full spread, the full menu of whatever it was, almond hamburger, lasagna, mac pizza, coconut crab cake, you name it, all of the sides, the buffalo cauliflower, you name it. It was all good. So I miss it too. So I'm really working hard to create that for April 1st. So stay tuned. Um, stay tuned. All right. Peace and love, y'all. I'm out.